Okay, real quick, I'm going to go through how I used Claude to data dump some stuff in my mind and then go from there to a post in Lext that is about to be ready to be used. So what I did was first by hand journaling, I wrote out some things and basically, let's see, it began with the thought popped in my head about discovered need. And so all of this was what I wrote down by hand. Then I said, okay, this could be useful if I could get it into one of these AI tools. So I said to it, I'm going to data dump this and say some things that I want to turn into a post. This is a journal entry. Just read it and extract it and help me start creating the post. So it said, this is a really useful concept. The concept being sometimes you discover that you have a need when you're using a tool. So for me, Whisper Flow is one of those examples. Like I knew I sort of needed something or I had tried things, but I really didn't know how much I needed exactly what Whisper Flow was. So this is kind of the path that people take. They'll either not know or kind of have some sense that maybe something's in place that they could use, but they have to discover it and then experience it. And that is something that involves initial awkwardness that for many people prevents them from going forward. So my role as a guide to help people get through that process, that was what I was thinking about. That's what it pulled out. There's good insights. And it said Whisper Flow illustrates this well, what this suggests for your teaching, yada, yada, yada. Then it asks, do you want to frame this advice to lawyers or description of my philosophy? And are there any other examples besides Whisper Flow? So I thought, okay, here's what I said. Blah, blah, blah about Whisper Flow. Somewhere in here I said, other examples would be Text Expander. So it said, okay, great. Whisper Flow versus Text Expander. Whisper Flow, low setup, immediate payoff, just requires building the habit, whereas Text Expander requires more upfront investment of time, building out your macros, and the payoff, tends to come later, at least the aha moment. And so I was like, yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, cool. That's a good place to start. So then it said there's two types of discovered need. I didn't know it could be this easy. I didn't know the investment was worth it. Okay, that's useful. I like that. Then so I just told it I like the idea of those two types. So yeah, we could probably use Text Expander as a contrast point. Great. So it does this draft structure first. Or this is Claude. ChatGPT, I did the same thing. I just dove into writing it, and I can show that, but let's just continue with Claude. So then it says, before I draft, what do you want? 400 words, 700 words? Where will this live? And I was like, well, it's going to be a circle post, so short and casual. So this is what it came up with. And I am going to use this inside the inner circle as a post because I think it's useful for us all to wrap our heads around this idea. But then I thought, well, I need to send an email to my, to Substack and to the folks on my ConvertKit email list. I just dumped everything in. I said, this is going to be from journal entry, yada, yada, yada. And then I said, output from draft above. So this is where I had to know that I could probably do this. I wasn't completely sure, but I just labeled it that way and then pasted in that thing that you just saw here. I pasted that below. And then I went over to the chatbot and said, chatbot, well, I'll show you in a second what it looks like, but I basically said, generate a draft. And so it says, okay, let's look at ConvertKit. And then it loads that Claude draft, which is what was labeled there. And basically it generates this prompt. Please generate a rough draft based on what I've got that matches the tone and style. So it's great. I'll help you do that. And it starts changing the heading. It deletes all that, shows me it's going to delete all that. Then it got to this part. It said a phrase popped in my head this morning. And I look at this and I'm like, okay. So it just stopped in midstream. So all I had to do was prompt it, say, okay, you didn't finish drafting. It goes, you're right. Let me finish the complete draft. So it continues with the hidden problem. Where is it? The hidden problem most lawyers don't know they have. A phrase popped in my head this morning. So then it rewrite subject, and this is what it's writing. So the green is what I'm going to copy and put in there. So it writes all of this, and at this point, what I would do is copy this because it won't copy it in for me. So I have to go up here, delete all that, and then paste in what it copied, and then the title is really this. So at this point, actually, let's see. So this is it. It's got the subject line. It's got the preview. The next thing I would do is go through and do the checks where I say check for brevity, cliches. Then that's a manual process. And when I'm doing that, I'm reacting to its suggestions, but I'm also overriding those or taking the time to write things the way I want them written. But just so you can see how the chat worked, if I clear the chat and start a new one, the thing that I used to generate the draft in my voice was this. I just click on that, and that's what produced the prompt and then started, the whole process going. So Lex is great. It's been trained on my writing. This is super useful, and I'm obviously going to have to clean it up, but it's really easy to go from journaling by hand, data dump, put that into Claude, but each step involves some thinking, some tweaking. It's not just, copy it and paste it in and outputs exactly what you want. There is a process, and you have to be willing to go through this process, but it's like all writing. It's just a lot easier to do it this way once you've trained the systems on the various things you want it to do.